Hello everyone and welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione for this week's Coach Dave GT3 Sprint race on Low Fuel Motorsport. It's my one and only opportunity for a race on any sim this week, so there are no second chances here. I've got to make this one count. Now, I've recently created a CR Sim Racing team on LFM, which is open for any viewers to join. I'll explain how to at the end of the video, but one of the founding members is on pole position for this one. Jay Wood at the very front of the grid with a 142.4. Now, I'm actually not too far off the pace. I'm only around 0.7 of a second off Jay, but I'll be starting all the way down in P10 out of 21 on the grid. There's less than half a second separating 8th from 15th though, so competition in this one is going to be incredibly fierce. I've had some torrid races at Imola in the Ferrari recently, so I'm switching to the BMW for this one. Hopefully I'll handle those curbs a little bit better. Let's get down to the grid and see how we go.
Green light, go, go, go.
Lights are green then, we're underway for 25 minutes at Imola and I have just one goal at T1. That is survival. This is my one and only opportunity to get in the rig, so if it all goes pear-shaped at the first corner, that's my week done. So I'm giving the cars on my inside as much space as possible through this first chicane. I'm clear to the left now so I can hit the apex and get on the gas. Oh no, I can't, because there's been a big wreck in front. I'm hard on the brakes. In fact, I'm out onto the grass. That seems like the safest place to be to try and get around that wreck. And we're leaving a trail of devastation in the rear view mirror. We've got no one within 2 seconds of us, and we find ourselves up into P6. So a fantastic start. Well, fantastic for me at least, not so fantastic for the 9 or 10 drivers who got caught up in that melee. Let's check out a replay to see what happened. Now, Jay Wood's going to take the whole shot here. He's going to make it to T1 first, and that puts him out of harm's way. But let's watch the cars behind, mainly that number 3 Audi. Carl Bernadotte is the driver. He's going to have a look up the inside of the McLaren in front of him. Paulo Prestes spins Prestes around, and then all hell breaks loose. Fortunately, I was just far enough back to be able to anticipate it. First, I got hard on the brakes to avoid the cars in front. Then I moved out to the grass. But yeah, that is a huge one. Let's check it out again, riding on board with one of the drivers who was right in the thick of it, Miguel Jimenez. He also does an excellent job of avoiding everyone. Hard on the brakes when he needs to, gets on the gas when he needs to, and avoids the wreckage. So Jimenez gets through safely, but so many other drivers weren't so lucky. Let's take another look from the chopper cam and we can see all the devastation caused by Bernadotte's attempted pass up the inside of Prestes there. Now, I'd started from P10 on the grid, but I'd already lost a couple of positions to cars down my inside before I made it through turn 1. However, we lost 5 or 6 drivers from the leading pack there, and as a result, I came through in 6th position. Now, the big question is, can I build on that, or will the faster drivers start reeling me back in? Well, let's find out. We're back to the live action at the start of lap 3. Already I'm starting to lose touch with that leading 5. Oliver Anschutz is in 5th position. He's a second clear already. Back markers coming out of the pits, but thankfully we get past them okay. So yeah, Anschutz in 5th position. He's 1 second clear. However, I've got problems behind now. We saw Jimenez navigate his way expertly through that wreck on lap 1. When he emerged from the wreckage, he was 2 seconds back, but he's now just 0.6 of a second back, and he's going to get closer quickly now because I make a mistake through Villeneuve. I just get a bit of a slide on and get 2 tyres out into the gravel. That's cost me speed. I immediately take the defensive line, but it's not enough. Jimenez had no choice but to take a wider line into Tosa and try and roll it around the outside, but he was able to do so. He carried a lot more momentum, while I, on the inside, tried my best not to drift out to the right. I didn't want to push Jimenez out onto the grass, so I made a concerted effort to keep my exit as tight as I possibly could, just so I didn't squeeze him, but of course that did cost me momentum, so I'm down to 7th position. Let's go back and check out a replay. We can see the mistake. I'm just carrying too much speed into Villeneuve. That's all it is. We get a slide on, 2 tyres out onto the gravel, and that costs me all my momentum into Tosa. Jimenez goes out wide. He's carrying the momentum, he's carrying the speed, and he makes the pass on exit. Well, given how quickly Jimenez reeled me in on those opening couple of laps, I wasn't expecting to stick with him, and sure enough, he soon made a break for it. He did make the odd mistake, just clipping the gravel there, coming through Vaza towards the end of lap 6, but none of those mistakes were anywhere near big enough to help me close the gaps. We're going to jump forward now to lap 7. We're still in P7. We're still 1 second behind Jimenez, but we've got company in the rearview mirror now. That is Duarte Azeredo. Now, he started all the way down in P20 on the grid, but he has clearly got more pace than that qualifying position suggests. And he's much smoother than me through that final chicane as well. He may be in a position to make a move up the inside into Ravazza. He has a look. We've got to be at our best to defend this position now. We are in a proper battle with the BMW driver. On to lap 8. I am pushing as hard as I possibly can here to try and gap Azeredo. As a result, I'm closing in on Jimenez in front. That Ferrari just 0.7 of a second ahead now, and it's getting visibly bigger. But the trouble is, Azeredo isn't getting any smaller in the rearview mirror. He is still just 0.2 of a second behind. So we're on the verge of being in the middle of a three-way battle for P6. The three of us now separated by less than a second. I can just feel the rear start to step out a little bit, exiting that chicane. Well, I said a couple of laps ago that Azeredo was much smoother through that chicane, and he's made it count there. He breezes past up into 7th position. Oh, look at that really clever defensive work as well. He moves over to take the tight line. He makes sure there's absolutely no opportunity for me to fight straight back. So yeah, I think I may be being a little bit found out here. My pace just not up to scratch to match these guys. This is my mistake into the chicane. It's only a very small mistake, but it's a costly one. The rear just stepping out there, which means I can't get on the gas as quickly as I would have liked. Lap 9 now. I'm still in P8, but I've got yet more company behind. Look in the rearview mirror and you'll see Eduardo Gallego in the Mercedes. He has closed in nearly 2 seconds over the previous couple of laps. I suspect I may be in danger of dropping even further back. Meanwhile, in front, the Ferrari of Jimenez is out into the wall. Jimenez has lost it, so straight away we're promoted back up into P7. How long we'll stay there for, I don't know, because Gallego is coming in fast. We're a little bit wide out through Ackerman there. Took a bit too much of the curb. That's the very same curb that caused me to crash out in the Ferrari last time I raced in Imola, but I've survived it this time. Through the chicane, yellow flags right. We've lost another driver. Oliver Anschutz has crashed. Well, just when I thought I was dropping backwards, I get 2 freebies in the space of a lap. First, Miguel Jimenez shows exactly why I didn't choose the Ferrari for this race. It just doesn't do these curbs at Imola. However, anything that a Ferrari can do, a Lamborghini can do equally as well, or as badly in this case. Another clipped curb, and that causes Oliver Anschutz to spin out. So all of a sudden I find myself up into P6, but sadly it is not going to last. We're rejoining the live action at the start of lap 10, and I'm beginning to feel the pressure from Eduardo Gallego behind. He is now just 0.3 of a second back. And as I try to push a little bit harder to make a break for it, I make the exact same mistake that I made earlier in the race. Once again, 2 tyres out onto the gravel exit in Villeneuve. I've got no choice but to take the defensive line, but once again, it's no good. Gallego goes out wide. He's carrying more momentum. He carries more exit speed out of the corner, and he makes it up into P6, dropping us down to P7. And yeah, I'm really paying the price here for no practice time. I hopped straight into this race just to try and get one done quickly, and I'm being found out here. Lots of little mistakes. That's all they are, little mistakes, but they are proving so costly. So can I do anything at all about getting back into the top 6? Well, for quite a while it didn't look like it, because Gallego started to make a break for it. However, we're rejoining the live action now with just 4 minutes to go. We're about to start lap 13, and I'm suddenly finding a groove. I'm under no pressure at all behind. The nearest driver is more than 7 seconds back, so that's been a big help. But as we cross the line, it's a 1:43.9 for Gallego, a 1:43.3 for me. So we've taken 0.6 out of Gallego on that last lap. But can we build on it? That is the big question. We're just 0.7 of a second behind Gallego. Now that's as close as we've been since he overtook us, and we're much better out of turn 1. We're visibly closer now, closing that gap to 0.3 of a second. I'm starting to build up some real momentum here. The last thing I want to do is make a mistake again through Villeneuve. We're clean through this time, and we are right on the tail of Gallego in that Mercedes now. Can I get on the gas just a bit quicker than him coming out of Tosa? Well, I can, but at a cost. I just run out a little bit wide. We clip the gravel and undo all that good work. And yeah, that was pretty much the point where I saw my hopes of getting into the top 6 evaporate. We're rejoining the live action now towards the end of the penultimate lap. We've got one more lap to go after this one. Once again, I'm starting to close in on Gallego, but once again, I pushed too hard and clipped the gravel. So with one lap to go, I've settled for 7th position, but how's my CR Sim Racing teammate Jay Wood getting on at the front of the pack? He started on pole position, but sadly he wasn't quite able to hold on to the lead. Carl Bernadotte gets by to take the win. Jay Wood crosses the line in 2nd, just 0.6 of a second behind. Meanwhile, we're still out on track, approaching Rivazza 1. We're still in P7, we're still 0.7 of a second behind Gallego. We are starting to close in again, but I'm just not quick enough or consistent enough to reel in those final few tenths. Or for a moment, I thought Gallego was heading down pit lane there. Oh, he realised just in the nick of time and got back out on track to take the checkered flag and hold on to that P6. We crossed the line in P7, and here are the classified results. The fastest lap in the race for me of 1:43.2. That's nearly identical to Gallego. That just shows why I found it so tough to overtake him. Well, that pace wasn't too bad actually. On another day it probably would have been quick enough to challenge for P4, particularly if I'd had time for a bit more practice. But a decent race nonetheless, that one. I managed to avoid the lap 1 carnage and I got myself a solid top 10 finish. Which brings me on to my LFM team. If you're without a team on Low Fuel Motorsport and you'd like to join one, you'd be most welcome to join mine. Just go onto the Low Fuel Motorsport website, search for CR Sim Racing, and then click join. The password is Chris Rogers, all lowercase. I'd love to see you there. Thank you ever so much for joining me for this one, and wherever you're racing this weekend, have a good time. Cheers.